Hey friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Adrienne. If you're new and if you are not new, thank you so much for tuning in today. So in today's video, you will notice that what I'm saying on screen does not match up to what you're hearing right now. I had did this video outside and did not realize just how disrespectful the wind was. My audio evidently failed me, and I am now looking for a new microphone that actually works well with my camera. So I do apologize for that, but I really wanted to go ahead and get this video out to you all. So you will hear me editing Adrienne, popping in here and there, but hopefully in the original audio that's still there, you can hear me. So let's just go ahead and dive right into it. All right, so I wanted to kind of talk to you guys a little bit about what I use to start my seeds in. So in the past, I have used potting soil. I typically use back-toe potting soil, but I wasn't really happy with the quality of it. I can typically pick that up at my local co-op. It just didn't fit the bill this year, and something in me just said, do not use this stuff. And so I went back to using my tried and true Jiffy seed starting mix. It is a little bit more expensive, but I do believe going forward, I will either make my own seed starting mix or I will purchase the bag of seed starting mix that my local nursery that I get all of my plants from when I do purchase them, the seed starting mix that they use and that they actually make themselves. So what I really wanted to show you guys here was the trays that I'm using. Now, as you begin to really get into your garden journey and you decide that this is something you really want to do, I do recommend that you purchase quality seed starting tools, trays, because I promise you in the end, it's going to be so much more beneficial. I love these trays and these sales that I pick up from Bootstrap Farmer. You're going to see the tray in just a minute. However, the one downside to it that I really don't like, and in hindsight, I'm just like, why did I do that? I thought that the colored pots were just so cute, but to me, they're just not practical. I don't know if it's my OCD or just me being a perfectionist. I really hate the fact that the soil is just all over these trays and you can see it. Probably not a big deal to most people, but to me, it's just like, oh my gosh. But I love that I can plant my tomatoes in these. And last year when I did that, I didn't have to up pot my tomatoes because number one, I didn't start my tomatoes super early. So I only want a small plant going out into the garden. I don't want big tomato trees. So these 4-cell pots that are about I think the pots are 4 inches, perfectly fine for me. They're either 3 or 4. So I did order some more trays that haven't gotten here yet, just in black. I got those from Epic Gardening. Now, I am not affiliated with Epic Gardening or with Bootstrap Farmer, but I just wanted to share with you guys what I'm using and just how I've seen a huge difference in the quality and the longevity of the seed starting things that I use. So yeah, let's jump back into it. So I will say here that when you are packing these cells, one mistake that I've made in the past with the ones that have the holes at the bottom, which I really love those because it gives the roots a place to kind of grow down into. Make sure that you are ensuring that all of your soil is packed down enough. I have had issues in the past where I didn't check and like I could see after, I put the soil in there, that I didn't have enough soil, and so it caused an issue with watering. So just make sure that you're not making them super tight, but that you're sure that your soil fits in the whole cell. That's going to ensure that you have even watering when you're bottom watering, because bottom watering is all that I do. All right. So I know that we are basically in the throes of what feels like full out spring, y'all. But let me just tell you, there's definitely a such thing as faux spring, and that is what we are in. I am in Mississippi. I'm in zone 8A. We were switched over. We were zone 7B up until all the zones changed. And so I am always second guessing myself. And I'm always like, oh my gosh, I should have already started that. Oh my gosh, I should have had this done already. I've waited too late. Maybe I'm not going to get a harvest. Maybe I'm not going to get all the things because, we see everyone else that's on social media and we are comparing ourselves to them, and thinking, I should have already done that. And I'm not just talking about people that are in different zones. I'm talking about people that may also be in our same zone. And so I'm always like, okay, did I, should I have done this already? But here's what I want to say to you, especially the beginner gardener. Give yourself grace. Y'all, I literally just got some of my seeds yesterday, the bulk of my seeds yesterday. And here I am planting things that I'm like, probably should have been planted, according to my last frost date 8 weeks ago. However, I'm just putting them in the ground or I'm just putting them in soil. And that is okay. There are things that I probably, according to, other gardeners, could have already put direct sown, but you know what? I haven't. And you know what I say to that? It's going to be okay. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. There are definitely things that you need to go ahead and get started when it's time to get started. But what I want to say is this. My last frost date is April 2nd, right? Does that mean that I'm going to put my plants in the ground on April 2nd? Absolutely not. I typically have not put my plants in the ground until around Mother's Day. Because we could tend to have a whole nother frost and it will kill off every single thing I have. So for me, because I have a long growing season where I am, I would rather throw caution to the wind or not throw caution to the wind and just give myself some grace with when and how I start things. I'm looking because there are wasps and bees flying everywhere, and you would think that we are in full out summer. So anyway, one of the things that I will say is, for me, what has worked for me in the past is succession starting. Now, I know we talk about succession sowing. I know we talk about planting things at different times, but I have been really successful at succession starting. I don't start everything at one time. I don't start everything, in one big bundle, because for me, I'm just overwhelmed with it. So what I like to do is I like to take my time and just kind of get things started as I can. So like today, I am starting basil. I'm starting a few flowers. I'm starting a few, brassicas that I haven't started. And I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if I've waited too late. But what I do know is I have time, y'all. And so I am not going to overwhelm myself, because the garden for me is supposed to be something that I enjoy. If I make it something overwhelming, then what is it really benefiting me to garden? Again, my last frost date is April 2nd. And so I typically do not plant out until the end of April, or honestly closer to Mother's Day, because we could tend to have a whole frost at the end of April. Ask me how I know, because it's happened. So, what I like to do is I do like to purchase plants from my local nursery. You guys know that. I've said that before. I will go ahead and put those in the ground. I will say now, I have plants in the ground that I purchased from my local nursery, and they're not looking extremely great. Well, do I think they're going to bounce back? Yeah, I do. But it's still been kind of cool. And even though they're cool weather crops, it's still pretty cold, at night and in the mornings. Y'all, I'm looking because the walls are out in true fashion. Now, if you do not have a long growing season, this may not be for you. However, because I do, I'm going to take advantage of that time. I'm going to succession start, and I am going to take my time starting things and putting them out. Now, I am starting celery today. It may be absolutely crazy for me to start celery, and I'm hoping that I can find some celery at my local nursery, because I don't know that it's going to have time for it to do anything. But what I would recommend that you do, instead of just looking at sites that tell you this is your last frost date, make sure that you are looking at your 10-day forecast. Make sure that you are counting back from those weeks and kind of figuring it out for yourself, because no one has the answers. No one knows what nature will do. That's the beauty of it. So don't always feel like I haven't done this and someone else has already done it, so I must be late or I can't do it. And on the flip side of that, don't go to your local Home Depot and your local Lowe's and see that they have plants out, and that means that you can do everything. Listen, my local nursery just blew off. And that's going to be bad because I don't know which one is which, but we'll figure it out. Even at my local nursery right now, it was very tempting for me to purchase all the things. Y'all, they already have tomatoes out. They already have cucumbers out. They already have all the things out. But I know that they're growing in high tunnels. So their growing situation is totally different from mine. So that means if I had brought those tomatoes home with me and put them in the ground, what do you think would have happened? So I would say make sure you're doing your research. Make sure that you are checking your own frost dates. Make sure that you're checking your frost dates from years past. Make sure that you are looking into those things and making the right decisions for your growing situation. But also, don't feel like because you haven't gotten a start on everything that it's just a lost cause, because guess what? You still have time. Especially if you're in my zone, in zone 8A. You have time to start things. You don't have to plant things as soon as it says, oh, this is my last frost date, so let me throw it in the ground. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace, and really, like I said, really learn your situation, right? I have started some tomatoes, but I haven't started all my tomatoes. I have started some, no, I haven't started any peppers. And we're at March. And you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to start peppers next week. I don't even have all the peppers that I want to start. And so I'm going to start them when I get them, y'all. All right, so the wind got really loud, so I decided to just go ahead and bring you guys inside to show you how I set up, or how I basically get my seeds or my trays ready to go on the seed starting shelf. So basically, I've been using plastic wrap this year, and that has really worked well with aiding in the germination of my seedlings. I've used this on my cool weather crops, and I've also used it on my warm weather crops. Now, this could be a totally terrible thing to do, but it's been working. And so, I decided to just stay with that, or to stick with it. So I'm adjusting my lights. You want to make sure that your lights are close, but you want to make sure that they're not sitting on top of your trays, and these were. So I'm just pulling these up a little bit and adjusting them, and just making sure that my tray is covered well with the plastic wrap, but then also making sure that my lights are not pulling at that or melting the plastic that's on my tray. All right, guys, so here we are with our seed starting shelf. Just wanted to show you guys the tray that I just put on here. I put that next to some of my Roma tomatoes, my sauce tomatoes, and a few other things that I just started a couple of days ago that is not germinated. This year I am trying the plastic wrap method, and so far so good. Did really good with my tomatoes down here with all of my brassicas. This may be an epic fail, but for now it's working and we will see. Again, I have time to restart things if I need to, but as soon as I see that the majority of the tray has germinated, I take it off. And then with my brassicas, once everything has germinated, I go ahead and take the heat mats off as well. So I'm excited, y'all. Still have some space. I have another shelf down here, and then I have some space in a couple of my trays that I need to put all of the rest of my stuff in. I'm just about done with starting the things that I really want to start for the 2025 garden. So I'm excited, and I hope that you guys are too. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. It really helps me out a lot. I appreciate you guys being here. And from my garden to yours, let's grow together. Bye, y'all.